we'll get started. Right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Guildford Hub as part of this coronavirus business survival series. And today we're talking about managing your finances, and it's going to be the Hub accountant, Will Bolter from Revel Accountants, who's going to take us through that. Just a brief introduction. The Hub is all about education, inspiration, and collaboration, and never more important than in these difficult coronavirus times. Normally, we meet at the lovely Harbour Hotel in the what's now known as the Social. Used to be called the Long Bar Late, but now we're meeting online via Zoom on a regular basis every Tuesday and Thursday for these 1 hour specials. And we're still meeting every Monday morning as the Hub, and you're welcome to come and join us as a visitor to the Hub on a Monday morning. So what's coming up? Coming up this week at on Thursday at 10 o'clock, I will be talking about LinkedIn and leveraging your LinkedIn profile to create engagement with your ideal target market. This is effectively a presentation I was supposed to be giving tomorrow at the Hampshire Business Expo. I was one of the speakers at the Hampshire Business Expo tomorrow, which obviously has been cancelled. I was also going to be doing a similar sort of talk at the Surrey Business Expo in July, which has also been cancelled. So I thought we'll put this on and run a session on LinkedIn engagement tomorrow. So spread the word about that, and that will be really good. More help is coming. On the 14th, we've got Sweating Your Website, talking about how you can actually get more from your website and is it up to speed, doing the right things for you. On the 16th, we've got Creating Lead Magnets. 21st, Customer Journey. 23rd, Google My Business. There's still a question mark around Google My Business as to whether or not it's going to be worth doing a session, because Google have suspended certain aspects of Google My Business at the moment, but we'll take a view on that nearer the time. On the 28th, Social Media 101. So we'll have had about a month of lockdown by that stage. So we'll be looking at what's working on social media, what's not working. That's a sort of general social media viewpoint. On the 30th of April, with the support from Delivered Social, we're providing lots of support for businesses free of charge, including put out a website for you, create a brochure for you. They're going to talk about what makes the perfect brochure on the 30th of April. And then into May, first week in May is going to be Facebook week. So we're going to talk about Facebook groups, how to leverage them, how to engage with them and use them. And then on the 7th, we're going to be talking the basics of Facebook ads, because lots of people have stopped spending money on marketing in this coronavirus period, which means Facebook ad costs have come down quite significantly. So you can get a lot more bang for your buck. So if you've got the ability to afford to spend a little bit of money on Facebook ads, it's going to be a good time to do it. So we'll be talking some ad basics on the 7th of May. And then on the 12th, we're going to talk about leveraging Instagram. And then on the 14th, should you be tweeting? Twitter is a prolific platform still. So we're going to look at Twitter and how to leverage Twitter and ask, should you be tweeting for your business during this time? So lots of stuff still to come in these 1 hour coronavirus business survival series. But today we are talking about managing your finances. So Will, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Do you want to start sharing yours?
Yeah, if we can do that.
Right, over to you.
See if this works.
And during the session, I suggest we go on to mute, and then either put your hand up or put something in the chat box for me to unmute you to ask Will a question. Okay, thanks everybody.
Is that working okay? You can see the slide.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Alan's muted himself, so.
Looks a bit big.
Oh. Ah, that's what I've got. So-
Right. Okay. Let's go to the second slide and see what that looks like.
Better? Not better?
No, we're not seeing the full slides.
Oh,
Hmm.
what are you seeing? Just
It looks
At
too
the moment,
zoomed in.
yeah, at the bottom I can see chartered certified accountant. At the top I can see half of the line above accounting.
oh, okay. I'm gonna try and can you now just see like a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you go into presentation mode,
Yeah, I've got it set up funny, haven't I?
well, that's the
Yeah,
presenter's view rather than the.
but when I swap view, I know the issue is because I've
There
got.
it goes. That's perfect.
Oh,
That was
okay.
right. That was right. Yep.
Better?
That's perfect. Great
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Well done.
I
Technical issues resolved. Well done.
had to do PowerPoint presentations on Zoom. Okay, well, you've now seen this slide 3 or 4 times, so I won't bother with that one. Right, so what we're going to talk about. So Alan's asked if I can talk through building a cash flow / budget for businesses, a bit about what it is, why is it useful, just the general logistics. There is a template that I have created that I was hoping Alan was going to send out in advance, but there is a template available for everyone that I've taken screenshots from that
I
you
did think I'd sent it out, but maybe that's not gone as well. I don't know. It should have gone out as well.
hopefully Alan can sort that shortly. Then we're going to talk a little bit about using Xero, an accounting or bookkeeping package, and in the chat. Sorry, I've got the chat box up. And how you can use Xero for automation and just getting it to do things for you to make your life a lot easier. I've then got a slide on the government updates from COVID-19. That's going to be a very short slide because there's probably only one short thing to talk about. And then any questions. But as Alan said, do put things in the chat box, put your hand up, wave at me if you've got any questions as we go along. And it's probably more useful to ask questions on the relevant sections as we go. Just who we are. So Revel Accountants, there's me on the left, my boss Rob on the right. There's also Rob's wife Laura. We're down in Hazelmere, got a small firm, we're looking for about 200, 250 clients, all small businesses. We don't like audits. Accounts, tax, sole traders, limited companies. We help whoever we can. So, cash flow. As I said, what is it? Why is it useful? So, track your cash balances. So, this is a cash flow in terms of what money you're expecting to receive in, what your payments out going to be, and then track your cash balance. It's not a cash flow in terms of if you looked at a set of audited accounts, that's a different type of cash flow, and to be honest, not much use to anyone. Once we've done the initial cash flow, you can then use it to see where you're spending money, when you're going to have points where you have money surpluses, money deficits, and then what can you do to change things to hopefully reduce the deficits so that you're in a surplus most of the time or all of the time is the plan. Then if you have additional surpluses, can you do anything else with that money? Can you use that money to work for you a bit more? So to start with, this is the start of the cash flow template. And as I said, it looks scary and daunting. To me, I'm not going to say it looks exciting, but I don't mind it. It's an Excel spreadsheet and I quite like Excel spreadsheets. There are a lot of numbers on there, a lot of lines. It just looks, oh God, look at all that. It looks horrible. And it does look like there is a lot of work to do to get that ready. As I said, there is a template ready to go. And to be honest, I stole most of this from zero to start with. So I think it took me about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to create it. So once it's up and running, it's not too bad, and hopefully a lot of that work has been done for you. So, as I said, the bottom of the spreadsheet is what we are working towards. So there's a couple of lines at the bottom. Cash at the start of the month, what your movement is within the month, and then your cash balance at the end of the month. Or you could extend this out to be, you could do it weekly, you could do it quarterly, you could do it annually. I've gone with monthly because it seemed logical at the time, but the more detailed plan you can put in, the more benefit you'll get out of it. You'll see as you move along, there's a section that's red. That's where there's potentially a cash issue, quite a big cash issue for this one. But I just wanted to highlight that's what we're looking for. So good times, not so good, bad times. And then what can we do to help mitigate that? So you start by creating money in. Now for all of this, we're not looking necessarily at sales and expenses. We're looking at cash timings. So we're looking when money's actually coming in, when money's actually going out, which is why I've done a few different lines here. So cash sales, card sales, they're sort of more for people, I guess I'm thinking about people who are going out, they've got a stall somewhere and they're selling cakes. So you're getting physical cash, you're getting card payments. So they happen on the day, you're happy with those. What we've got below that is invoice sales. So for my business, we send out an invoice and we don't expect a payment for a few weeks. So the sale is reported when we send out the invoice, but the cash doesn't hit our bank for 3 to 4 weeks. So we need to factor that in. So just because you got the sale doesn't mean you've got the money. And as Alan says, cash is king. Just one thing on the whole of this spreadsheet, I have treated everything as if for VAT, that all the numbers include VAT, and VAT refunds or payments are then sort of fall out every quarter when they happen with HMRC. If you wanted to, you could edit all this so you do VAT exclusive numbers, but it would just, I think that makes it harder, and for what we're looking at, I think it overcomplicates things. But I just wanted to say that's how I've done this spreadsheet for everyone. So once you've got your money in, that's great, but you need to work out what all your costs are and if you're actually making money in those months. So we move on to cost of sales. So I've treated this a bit like a profit and loss. We can have sales, direct cost of sales, and then our overheads. So we're working towards a gross, it says gross profit, but it's more a gross cash in for that period. So in here, I would put things that are directly linked to your sales. So as I said, if we go back to our cake stand, it'd be costs of the baking, so all the ingredients. Potentially wages in here, direct wages if you are employing some staff to do direct work for you. What other things? It's, I say, normally purchases and manufacture of goods, if that's the business you're in. Moving on from this, we then have our overheads. Now, this is the one that looks horrible. Lots and lots of numbers, all costs, effectively. As I said, these are mainly the headings that I've taken from the standard zero profit and loss. So some of these will be relevant to you, some of them won't be. You can change all of them if you so wish. But they are more costs that aren't directly attributable to the actual manufacturing of your good or your service or product. So most important one first, accountancy fees. As we go down, as I say, overhead type costs. I've got wages in here again, so this would probably be more likely, say you had admin staff who look at a back office or did your accounting function. That's the differentiator between direct sales costs and overhead costs. So that's all great. That will give you a total overhead figure, and it will effectively give you a net profit figure, which brilliant, useful to know that, but that's not, as I say, not necessarily what your cash figure is for the month or the period. For that, we need to then think about other cash movements that happen in the business. So cash introduced by the owners, so money you put into the business to fund what's going on. And then the other side of that, there's money that you take out of the business. So your I'm going to say salary or your drawings from the business, what you take out to live on. And then I've put down here large equipment purchases. So that would be sort of your fixed asset purchases. And then also quite a big one, VAT. So as I said back at the start, this is where you would account for the VAT. Once you've done your quarterly VAT return, you plonk the figure in there of what your quarterly return figure is and when you expect it to leave your bank. From all of that, you will get your total cash movement in the period. So that's the figure we're now happy with. It's all our money in, all of our money out, plus the other cash movements that we can think of. So that gives you what you need, and you can plug that figure in to the movement over the year. Now the yellow box at the left hand side, that's the one that needs to be filled in with your bank balance at the start when you're starting this. You put 0 in and your bank's not 0, it's not going to be accurate going forward. You need to, good balance to start with and then track it. So you can then point out the areas where you're going to spend a little more money, and or you're going to have more money coming in. So on the third column, you can see there's a negative cash movement. That's because of the VAT payment in that month. So in this example, they've built up some cash reserves because they know they're going to be paying the next one. That's how I would construct a cash flow, and all ready for you there to use. Are there any questions on that? I appreciate I've flown through that in about 10 minutes. So, Alan, have we got anything?
No, I'm not seeing any questions coming in. I think we've cracked getting the the template to people now. I did resend it. I did send it at about 8:30 this morning, but some people didn't seem to have received it, so I've sent it again. So hopefully everybody's got it now. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, just say on the template, I have put formulas in, so they should all follow through. Slight disclaimer, if they don't, then it's Alan's fault. He did something to the spreadsheet. So yeah, it should all follow through, and I'm hoping that if you have negative balances at the cash end month, they should turn red for you to highlight. If my Excel skills are as good as I hope they are. So next we're going to move on to Xero. Xero is a product that we really like. It's the package we recommend to our customers. Alan uses it for the hub. Steve's got it for Surrey event professionals. I don't think he does much work on it. I think Becky does most of the work. So we use it in our practice for our accounts, and we recommend it to our clients. What we really like is that it's very good for automation. There is a lot you can get it to do for you and save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So the main one, and it's the big selling point, not just on Xero, but on a lot of the accounting software, is the direct bank feeds. So you can link it up to your business bank account, and it will daily import your bank transactions. And from there, you can essentially tell it what all these bank transactions are, and it just stops you needing to bring them all in yourself or do a lot of work. It's there, ready, live data. Takes a lot of the work out of it for you. There's other apps and integrations you can bring in, which I'll go through in a bit later. It will pre-populate VAT returns for you, and then we've got you can track when money's due to you, when you've got to make payments. You can automate a lot around invoicing and budgets as well. We'll talk about as well. So this is what the bank feed looks like in Xero. So on the left hand side is the bank transactions coming in. So that's what you would normally see. So money that you spent, money that you've got coming in. And then on the right hand side, you've got basically your instruction boxes for Xero. So for you to tell it what everything is. Now that's pretty good. It's quite helpful, but where Xero is really good is that you can start the boxes on the right, get them to pre-populate. So a lot of the work is being done for you. So you don't even have to worry about telling it things. It's saying, this is what I think it is this correct? It's ideal. So to start with, if you've got sales invoices or purchases invoices sat in Xero, so you've sent out an invoice to a client, or you've got to pay something, you put that invoice in. If Xero sees you've got something saved ready to be paid or due to you, and a matching item comes through, it will say, is this matching up? Is this what I think it is? It highlights in green, says, I'm pretty confident this is what it is. And you just have to click OK, and that's it done. Alan's doing some sort of yoga, or no idea what he's doing at the moment. He's not even acknowledging us, he's just ploughing on. He's had all morning, but he thought 10:15 is the time I need to do this.
I just get a little stiff. I've been up very early this morning. I had to go and let the cleaner into the Samaritan Centre just down the road at 6:30 this morning. So I've been up a long time. So I was getting a little stiff sitting there.
And then the great thing about this with Xero is it will then mark it as paid. So it will say that that invoice has been paid, or you've received that invoice, and then it will stop all the reminders that I'll come on to later, and it won't show up on your reports. Dealt with, it's done. All great. So if we go back on the first screen on the bank feed, there was lots and lots of blank boxes. You can see also I'll start with the bottom one, the 7-Eleven. You can set up bank rules in Xero. So you can say, if you see this, so if it says 7-Eleven, you can tell it, this is what I want it to do. So staff welfare or something like that, I would guess 7-Eleven. It'll just say, is that correct? Yep, it is. The top one, so this is where you're not quite sure what it is. So you can put this discuss tab in. So you can say to your accountant, not sure what this is, or it is this, what do I do with it? So that's then there. The accountant, you can drop the accountant an email, say, look, I've got a few queries. When you get a minute, can you go in and have a look? They can go in, they can reply to your queries, say, yeah, oh, I think that's probably some transport code. We suggest you code it to this place. And then from there, you can set up rules, do all sorts with it. The second point down, so this looks to be a bank fee. What Xero will start to do is remember where you've posted similar items before. So you get a monthly bank fee. It will say, well, previously when it said Ridgeway Bank, you've told it wants to do this. Do you want me to do that again? You say, yeah, that's brilliant. So it's got a little bit of intelligence behind it. I would warn that sometimes it thinks it's cleverer than it is. So do check that side of things, because we have had clients who just blindly click OK to everything, and then you've got to undo it all. Which defeats the object. It's trying to help, and generally it is brilliant. It does save you so much time. So next, what does Xero link to? So many different, well, pretty much every UK bank it will link to, as well as things like your iZettle, your PayPal. So you've got Stripe down here, go cardless. And the benefit of those are, you think, well, why do I need to link it to my iZettle? I know what, if money comes from my iZettle into my bank, it's a sale. But if you set up this iZettle link to it, it will automatically bring in a sales invoice for you, so you don't even need to worry about that side of things. So if you're VAT registered, that's really helpful. It will account for bank or the fees they charge you before they send you the money, and then the money will pop into your bank. You can just set up a rule to treat it as a transfer. So you can set up 3 rules straight away, so that you just have to press the button once for when you make a sale. It's just so much easier, rather than if you just had it coming a line item into your bank feed, you'd have to do 3 or 4 entries behind it. So similarly with PayPal, you can do the same thing. With PayPal, you probably have the cost side of things as well, which also, it won't create a purchase invoice as such, but you can use it quite easily to set up your costs. And so for example, with PayPal, if you would say transfer £200 into your PayPal but use it for a variety of costs, you've got a bit of money coming in that you offset against some other costs. Having the PayPal set up effectively as a bank account is just really helpful. Saves a lot of time. Alan, do you use Go Cardless with Xero? Alan's still on mute.
Yes, I do. Yep.
So with Go Cardless, that's where you can set up direct debit, or is it direct debit? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's direct debit and all one-off payments as well. But yeah, direct debits are the main one that I use. So everything is linked between the two systems.
And I think as well with Go, I've not set this up myself, but I have seen that you can also, with Go Cardless, and I think with Stripe actually, you can set it up so when you send an invoice to a client, there is a button on the invoice that goes directly to those places, so you can pay by PayPal just by clicking on the invoice, and so all built into the background, which Xero publishes sort of how you can get paid quicker, because it's on the invoice, it's on the email link they get. You can click the button and pay straight away if you want to pay straight away. There are also hundreds of thousands of other apps you can integrate. So I've just taken a screenshot here from the App Store, as they call it. There is, say, loads and loads of apps. I don't know what half of them are, but I'm sure some of these might pop out. So workflow maps I've heard of. You can work for your workflow through. What these do is they build into Xero, they link into Xero, so it stops you duplicating things. So if you've got a client list in one of these products, you don't then need to add them into Xero again. You can raise an invoice in one system and it'll appear into your Xero, or the other way around. And you can manage all sorts of things through these. So we don't use many of these apps on our clients. A lot of these you have to pay a little bit extra for, and our clients think Xero is brilliant as is. They don't need to put anything else through. But just to say, there is so much out there. I do think stock, if you've got stock, it might be worth looking into a stock tracking app. That's one of the weaknesses of most of the online bookkeeping packages, that the stock is not brilliant. VAT, everyone's favourite subject. So when you make entries into Xero, there's always a box for VAT, and basically, as long as you tell it what the VAT is, it will pre-populate your VAT returns for you, and you can submit these to HMRC through your software, through Making Tax Digital, straight to HMRC. You don't really have to do much, to be honest. Have a look at it. You can see what's gone into each of the boxes, and click send. It links straight up with the government gateway. Done. Don't have to worry about anything else. So if you don't like VAT, it's brilliant. And if you do like VAT, you can still see quite a lot of info. So tracking money in and money out. When you set dates on your invoices in Xero, you can set when the invoices are due. And then from this, you can run reports to see what money you've got due when and where. And then if you haven't paid or you haven't been paid, so what you're owed money in and what you're going to be chased for. So this is really useful in that you can then use this in your cash flow Excel spreadsheet. You can start thinking, well, I know that doesn't come in until, or it's not due for another month, so I can put that into my spreadsheet. So the more data you can put in when you raise invoices, and a good or an accurate date of the invoice due, that will populate these, and you can track when your money's due and get a really good handle on your cash flow. So on the sales invoicing, you can use Xero to send out your invoices and invoice chasers. So you don't have to do as much work in sending invoicing chases in chasing payments due to you. So there's a whole bunch of templates you see on the left hand side of different ones you can send out for different all the different things you might want to send to clients or customers. So on the left we've got the basic template for a sales invoice. So this is actually for an overdue payment, but you can set up templates for when you send out invoices. So we send out two types of invoices. We send out some people pay on standing order, so we have a template for that, and then we have people that pay on invoice, so we have a template for that. And we also have set up or payment reminder invoices, emails, sorry. So you can see you can work out or set certain dates when you want emails to go out to clients, and you can edit what you want to say. So this isn't ours because we send one out, I think 14 days before the invoice is due. So a nice gentle reminder saying, hi, in 14 days your payment is due. If you have any questions, please do let us know. And then a little bit more before it gets a bit more, oh, it's due soon. And then once it goes overdue, it's like, please pay us. And then it's, if you don't pay us, we're gonna have to stop working for you. But you can tailor these to as more often or as less often. And once the invoice has been paid, these reminders stop. So you don't need to go in and then tell it not to send these. It will know that it's been paid and won't send any more. You can also turn them off. So you can say, I know this customer. So for example, we've got a customer who is waiting for their grant to come through from the council. And they said, I can't pay you for the next 3 weeks. So we've turned off reminders because we don't want to send more and more reminders through that it's just going to annoy them. All I would say is emails are great, but sometimes it is nice to just pick up the phone and have a chat. So a bit more info from the client, but as a start, this is brilliant. It saves you so much time. When you click into an invoice, you can also see what reminders have been sent or what's happened with this invoice. So this is one of our invoices that we sent. I've blacked out a few of the personal details, but you can see created back in August, and then we sent out 3 or 4 different invoices. You can then see that the client eventually went and had a look at the invoice, which was only 6 months after we sent it, and then they paid a couple of payments towards it. But it's just really helpful to know that you've sent it and they've then started to have a look at it. Or if they've not had a look at it, you can ring them up and say, oh, you're not getting my invoices from Xero. They will say they're not getting them, but you know they've been sent. But it's just a helpful little tool to see what's going on. Now, budgets. In Xero, you can set budgets, so you can say, this is what I'm expecting to happen. So you can fill out all your little boxes. This is sort of where I got the cash flow template from before. So you can see some of the headings are fairly similar. You can change these by updating your charter account. I won't go into too much detail there, but you can put in what money you're expecting in, what you're expecting to pay. So you could use this if you had this tool as your cash flow budget tool. That's all good, but where Xero is really good is that you can then track your actuals against it. So there is a lot of data on this screen, and you don't have to have all of these columns up when you use Xero, but you can then see what you're spending or receiving against what you're expecting. And it does it not just for the month you're in or the period you're in, you can do it for the whole year. So you can look at different variances. Perhaps there's a little bit too much info here, but more info helps you make more decisions. So yeah, not much more to say than that, but yeah, it's a brilliant little tool to track. Not enough of our customers do this, and it's something we're starting to push out, because especially at this time when you can have a look at what you're expecting to come in or to go out. So the next thing is pricing of Xero. If you were to have a look at Xero today, The top left is the prices you'll see. It looks pretty expensive. The prices at the front here are what accountants have links to other packages that they're not the full package, but if you, for instance, don't send invoices and aren't VAT registered, there's a package there for £5 a month you can get. So if you don't do invoices but you are VAT, there's a package for £9 that only available through accountants. So have a chat to your accountant. They can get you some very good deals on Xero that you won't be able to get otherwise. Any questions on Xero? Okay. COVID-19 update.
No questions. Sorry. Well, I was just going to say no questions in the chat box about it. But one thing I would say is if you're considering using something like Xero or QuickBooks, sit down with your accountant and talk it through with them. Make sure you've got the right chart of accounts and you've got the setup right, because it will make A, running your business easier, and B, interacting with your accountant and getting your accounts done a lot easier, a lot quicker. So it saves so much pain. I've got 4 separate companies that I have to sort out, and I've switched them all to Xero now. And it's so much easier doing my accounts on Xero than it was doing it the other way with Sage and whatnot. So highly recommended. Whoever your accountant is, sit down and chat with them. And if you haven't got one, I'd obviously recommend Will, because he looks after two of my 4 companies.
The other thing with Xero, actually, I haven't mentioned here, is there is an app for your phone, which is really good. I use it, or was using it a lot when I was out traveling. You can take photos of your train tickets as you go and just get the data into Xero whilst you've got a bit of downtime. So say whilst you're sat on the train, you enter your train ticket. Just saves you then coming back. You have to find that train ticket. It's all there, done.
Yeah, I do that when we in the times when we were able to meet in the harbour hotel. We usually meet in the cafe for coffee before the meeting, and so I'd get there early. I'd order my coffee, get my receipt, and where people would arrive as I was booking it into Xero through the app on the phone. So it's automatic. Then when it comes through, it just automatically matches. When it comes through from the bank statement, simplifies accounting so much better, and you can throw the receipt away because you don't need it anymore.
No, yeah, you can keep electronic receipts only. So COVID-19 update. Say there's not been a huge amount recently. There's been a little bit around furloughing, and that if you're a director of a company, you are allowed to furlough, and they are currently clarifying what is director's duty, what's employee duty, but we've got the you can do it now. And there's been a bit around if you pay regular commissions to staff, that some of that can be incorporated into your base salary for furlough. But say apart from that, we've not heard too much. Yeah, the Chancellor did hint the other day about a little bit more for directors of businesses, but until we hear more sort of concrete evidence, we're guessing, and I don't want to put too much speculation out there. Yeah, Martin Lewis has been pretty good. He did a podcast yesterday that did quite a comprehensive roundup of what you can do for directors, and he's trying to get some more clarity on what is a director's responsibility and what's not. So are you able to handle complaints and customer inquiries as a director, or does that constitute trading? So hopefully we'll have a bit more guidance on that in the next few days. And we move on to questions. Any other questions on anything accounting? Well, maybe not anything accounting, but anything relevant. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I'm not seeing any questions coming through in the chat box, so I don't know if I'll unmute everybody, although you're all on manual mute anyway. So anybody got any questions from the meeting? obviously
No,
very clear.
yeah, thank you. It was very useful, but I guess it's good there's not questions.
Well,
Well,
I guess.
it can go two ways, can't it?
Yeah.
Either because Will's done such a brilliant job, or
Yeah.
everybody's so confused they don't want to actually ask a
I
question.
can speak for myself. No questions is a good thing. It was informative. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was very informative. I mean, we use cash flow, and from what I can see from
Okay.
using Zero, really does look so much more clearer
Mm.
than cash flow.
I have to say, Zero has transformed my accounting. It is so much easier to do. You know, you can do your year-end accounts in, you know, on my property companies. What used to take days to gather all the stuff together and sort out, and I can do in a couple of hours now. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Just a quick little sort of case study. I'm sure Gemma from Pure Mess won't mind me using her as an example, but she's a client of mine, and put her onto Zero, and she's got PayPal, iZettle, Stripe, and we spent, I don't know, a few hours setting everything up. And once a quarter we go in and do the bookkeeping. I have a few queries for her, and it's come to tax return deadline, and I could do a tax return tomorrow if I wanted to, because it's there ready to go. It's sort of Zero's up to date. It will just be run the profit and loss, put them into the accounts, and we're pretty much away. So it takes a little bit of time during the year, not a huge amount. I call it a bake-off job. So you sit doing your accounts whilst you're watching Bake Off. Just to click away once a month or so, and it's done. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing we've been finding with the cash flow one is that the bank feeds, we sometimes get them, and then get them through again. Some of the figures through again.
That's
Yeah.
not great.
It's
I
not-
know
no.
the bank feeds over the last couple of months have been slightly temperamental because there's been all the new regulations about what's the feeds and what's not, and you have to keep updating your feeds to be compliant. But that should be dropping out now.
Mm.
But yeah, if they're coming through.
If you actually don't want to pay for the feeds, you can download your transactions from your bank in an Excel spreadsheet and import them straight in. It takes a few minutes to do, but then Zero works exactly the same way once you import them as if you got the feeds coming through automatically. So it is a piece of cake. I mean, I don't pay for the feeds for my property companies because there's not that many transactions going through. It would be wasteful. So I just download the transactions once a year, put it through, do the accounts, that's it, send it off to the accountant, away we go. It just takes a few hours and it's all done.
So the paying for the bank feeds is phasing out now because of the new APIs and open banking. A lot of the, I can't remember who it was, there's one company that a lot of the feeds went through. If Zero didn't have a direct feed, but a lot more of the banks have direct feeds now, so the cost of feeds is stopping pretty much.
Right.
So yeah, actually, Alan, I might need you to refresh your feed on one of the sets, but
Right.
we'll
Okay.
discuss that.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about that offline. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, great.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everybody. The recording of this will go up on the Linked Business YouTube channel later today. And there are the recordings of all the previous coronavirus business survival series, everything from the 120-day survival plan through to Will's talk on government advice and the customer avatar one. So they're all going up on my Linked Business YouTube channel. So if you need a link to that, just drop me an email. But I'll add you into the email list now for notification of all of the hub sessions. So you'll get 1 or 2 emails a week just telling you these details coming out so that you can follow things through and get all the information. There's no sales pitches in any of those emails. They're just links and information about what's coming up at the hub. Thanks very much, everybody, and hopefully see you on the next session on Thursday when we're going to be talking about LinkedIn and how to leverage LinkedIn, refresh your profile, and really start to use it to grow your credibility and trust in your marketplace. And we'll see you then. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Bye.
Alan.